Hi folks, I'm Mark Neumann, and I've been getting a lot of questions both on our Main Street visits and also on our Facebook and our emails about trains. We all have heard that there's $800 million, $823 million to be spent building a train from Milwaukee to Madison, and I've heard nothing but an uproar about it every place I go. It's a classic example of government not listening to the people. So let me give you my view on the trains. First off, the $823 million that they're going to spend, the federal government does not have the money. They are overdrawn in their checkbook by about $1.4 trillion. That's $1,400 billion that their checkbook is overdrawn. How in the world can they think about spending $800 million on the train? But let me go the next step. If they actually had $800 million to spend and it was burning a hole in their pocket, so they were going to send it out here to Wisconsin, if I were your governor, I would return that money to the people in the form of a tax cut. Because I understand that if we cut taxes, it means you keep more of your own money. And if you keep more of your own money, you're going to do one of two things. You're either going to spend it, and that's going to spur on the economy and create jobs, or you're going to save it. And if you save it, it becomes the capital that our businesses need to borrow in order to expand and create more jobs here in Wisconsin. So the second thing about the $800 million, if we actually had the money and they were going to spend it here in Wisconsin, I'd want to see it used for tax cuts. The biggest long-term problem that I have with this is once that train gets built, who's going to pay to operate it? There's no plan that I've seen any place that would tell us that the taxpayers of this state are not going to have to foot the bill for both cost overruns and long-term operation of the train, and that's just plain not right. So at the end of the day, I would like to see the money not spent because the government doesn't have it. If it's going to be spent, I'd prefer to see it as tax cuts, not in the train, and I would remain adamantly opposed to it because on the long-term basis, the taxpayers of this state are going to pay for it. Having said all that, let me just add that it's not the train itself that I'm opposed to, and I want to make it clear that if somebody came up with an economically viable way to install the train or to have the train where the taxpayers of our state did not have to foot the bill for it and our children and our grandchildren didn't have to foot the bill for it, it's not the train itself that's the problem. It's the fact that it is not economically viable and is not going to be paid for by the people who actually use it. Well, there's my view on the train. Like I said, I've gotten a boatload of questions for it on Facebook and on our emails and also out on our Main Street visits as we travel the state.